So, like, one of the biggest hits of discourse with this film is Emily Blunt's performance. And yeah, like, give her the Oscar. But Henry Lloyd Hughes, I was trying to pick his face, and he's great in the film. Some of you may know him from Harry Potter, but I know him as Donovan from The Inbetweeners. And I hope I have some viewers of The Inbetweeners that are watching this, because, yeah, he was fucking great in that. And apparently he's like the nicest guy in real life.
I'll rip your fucking throat out.
Just makes sense.
Have a nice time.
So last night I got to check out Disclosure Day. We had the Sydney premiere, and a massive thank you as always to Universal Pictures for the invite. A lot riding on this one. Spielberg's back. Not only that, John Williams is back, and it's Spielberg's return to sci-fi, the extraterrestrial realm. We've also got the writer of Jurassic Park on board with the story by Spielberg. So yeah, a lot riding on this one. A lot of hype as well, and in terms of Spielberg's track record of the last decade, I'd say the last hit for me was Between Lincoln and Bridge of Spies. Everything that came after that, it just didn't really land for me. But going into this, something just felt different when watching the trailer. I'm like, ooh, okay, this is going to be like a thought-provoking extraterrestrial approach. And for the most part, I really enjoyed this film. I think it's a nice little return to form for Spielberg, for me anyway. There are obviously going to be people out there that have loved every single film that he's done, and that's fucking awesome, man. I just think this was great. The only thing I will say, though, is the first half of this film felt like a completely different film from the last half of this film, where things ramp up and get absolutely brilliant. But within that first part of the film, we're trying to establish all these characters, and they're not all together. You know, they're over certain parts of the United States, and essentially you've got the government agency, like a secret government agency led by Colin Firth's character, who does an incredible job. Like, everyone in this film is great. This is a stacked cast. This is a class act cast. Try saying that 20 times. And they're going up against freedom fighters to essentially stop the truth being broadcast to the world that there are extraterrestrial beings that at one point were here on Earth 70 years ago. And essentially it's the lead up to that broadcast. Now we've got Emily Blunt, who plays a weather lady at a local news station, and she has exceptional talents and gifts and things that have happened to her since childhood that, you know, she is sort of like the chosen one and leading these people to eventually make that broadcast at her news station. You know, there's a nice little supporting act from Wyatt Russell, which is always great to see. I love seeing that dude, just given the fact his dad is Kurt Russell. Badass. So yeah, going back to the first half of this film, this is where I have the mixed feelings. It spends a lot more time exploring the idea of what humanity would do if proof of life beyond Earth suddenly became public knowledge. And it's an interesting premise. That's where I found the most enjoyment in the first half of a film that got a little bit too convoluted with setting these characters up. That little pocket of questioning one's faith, where we have a few characters that are religious. And for someone who's not exactly religious, I still found enjoyment in that. And it is that thought of, holy shit, like if there were aliens, if aliens did exist, the truth was out there, like the truth was released to the world. Do you question your faith? Do you still be of the faith? Or is it one of those things where it's like,
and I accidentally proved there's no God.
but then also you've got the government side, you know, trying to protect and cover up and not release that information. So it's that yin, it's that yang, and that's what I found enjoyment in the first half. The second half, the lead up, the build up to the broadcast, and them trying to infiltrate and get into the news station where Emily Blunt's character works. I think that's where I found the most enjoyment. And this is where all the pieces fall into place with this film. I think this is where it showcases Spielberg, Williams, the cast, the crew, everything just felt so damn good. And that momentum that it builds, I equated it to something like the end of Argo, when they're trying to get on the plane and take off and get the fuck out of there. Something like that. It was great. And just the way it was edited as well, just the pacing felt right. You've got other supporting cast members like Coleman Domingo, who has been very busy at the moment, and rightfully so. The guy is amazing. And he's a believer as well, but he's one of those characters that's on like the other side of the United States and trying to help Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor's character, because they sort of have a bit of a history, but they don't exactly know it yet. Now, going back to Emily Blunt. She is incredible in this film. She's definitely the driving force. She's a standout. Not only does she have a different dialect, she speaks several languages in the film. And just watching her performance is mesmerizing. Like, she bounces well off Wyatt Russell. She bounces well off everyone. And she has to go to some pretty heavy places in the film. So, like, Emily Blunt can do no wrong. She always turns in a crackerjack performance, but this time around, she really went above and beyond. And I think as well, just with Spielberg, there is just that nice sense of this is such a seasoned director and also such a seasoned composer with John Williams. Like, John Williams is in his 90s and has delivered another banger. And it's those familiar beats that we're used to with a John Williams score. And it almost feels like a warm hug from an old friend. You're like, oh my God. And knowing that this has the Spielberg blueprint, that he has directed this, having those two back together, who have collaborated for over 50 years, which is just insane. It was brilliant. And again, Williams' score comes into play and really peaks at the end of the film, before and when they're making that broadcast. So it was great to see. And yeah, it is definitely tickling my nostalgia pickle, but it worked. Now, I will say though, this isn't like your traditional extraterrestrial mothership coming to Earth, we come in peace type thing. This is like a very slow burn, subtle approach to life existing outside of Earth. But also it's more the human element, which, you know, for the most part, it always should be with these types of films. But also, like I said, questioning one's faith. Do you still follow the faith, or do you renounce your faith when there is something higher up that is higher up than your higher up? That makes sense. So yeah, guys, in the end, Disclosure Day, had a pretty damn good time with this one. It's a film that occasionally gets a little lost in its own ideas during the first half, but it more makes up for it with the strong performances, like these fascinating themes, like I mentioned, a fantastic score. Like, Williams, man, like he's an absolute trailblazer. Again, it was just like a warm hug from an old friend, or just picking up right where you left off with a friend who you haven't seen in years. For me, once I got past the bogged down first half of the film and we've established these characters, and when the shit hits the fan, essentially, at the second half and leading into the third act, that's where I found the most enjoyment in this film. But there is enjoyment to be had in the first half. I just felt like it was just a little bit rocky to get going. And with that, I'm going to be giving Disclosure Day 3.5 out of 5. So guys, once you do check out Disclosure Day, drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Where does this one rank for you with Spielberg's sci-fi extraterrestrial films, like even including Minority Report? But yeah, really dug this one. I felt it was a nice little return to form, and just hearing those familiar beats of John Williams' score and just knowing that it is a Spielberg film, it definitely helps. And a different approach as well to the extraterrestrial sci-fi genre. So yeah, very interested to hear your thoughts on this one, guys, especially that climax. I think that's going to make for a lot of discourse, good and bad. We'll see how we go. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.